One of my focuses for 2026 is to build a calmer mind and a more regulated environment. I want to do less multitasking, doom scrolling, and I don't want to feel like I'm always pressured or stressed running from one activity to the next. So here are 7 habits and practices that I'm cultivating to bring me peace. First up, we have morning pages. I've always had kind of a Ross and Rachel relationship when it comes to journaling. I've always felt like I needed to make it aesthetic, kind of future proof, and always have some value when I come back years and years later. And while some entries definitely serve that purpose, I think I was just overcomplicating it, and I ended up putting so much pressure on myself, I never really felt like I could enjoy it. I found what I really need is just a simple place to dump my thoughts for the day. This may seem obvious to a lot of people, but as a perfectionist and a recovering people pleaser, this is a tough headspace to get into and maintain. It's something I'm working on, but I found what works well is just using the journal app on my iPhone and actually just dictating whatever comes to mind. My primary goal was to start every workday this way, so I wasn't jumping straight into work. That was something I found myself doing way too much of in 2025. I'd pretty much get up, make my coffee, and then open Slack and jump right into work. Over the holiday break, though, I've found that what I was really craving was a slower start to my mornings where I felt a little more in control. So, journaling every morning makes me feel like I've got a clean slate, even if it's simple. I don't have any specific goal for word count or how long I need to write. All I need to do is just journal every day. That way, if it's the weekend and I don't really feel up for it, sometimes I'll just take a photo with a quick caption of whatever I'm doing, and it feels like a lower pressure, lower stress place to build a consistent habit. Number 2 is moving every day. Working from home is an absolute blessing, and I'm very grateful to have the freedom and flexibility that I do. However, sometimes I do struggle to get away from the desk, whether it is back to back meetings or deep work sessions. It can be really easy to kind of get in a groove and then look up and it's the end of the day and you haven't really moved. One of my targets is to hit 7,500 steps a day on average, in addition to working out 3 times a week. I kind of already had the strength training part of my fitness down, but actually getting enough movement is where I was struggling. So whether it's just getting up and doing some chores, going outside for a quick 5-minute walk, I'm trying to get in as many little breaks as I can. I'm already averaging over 7,000 steps, which is up from last year's 6,500, so I'm making good progress and hopefully I can keep it up. Number 3 is scrapbooking. I've noticed a trend lately where a lot of people are going more analog, switching back to old iPods, shooting on film cameras, and scrapbooking. Recently, my mom broke out a scrapbook from her days in high school and college, and it was a really authentic experience to be able to look back over the different photos and keepsakes that she had. And I found that that's actually a really hard experience to replicate in the digital world. So my wife and I went out, we bought a scrapbook, printed out some photos, and we started collaging. We've only done this a couple times, but I already noticed how fun and relaxing this was. We spent almost 3 hours at the kitchen table placing stickers and figuring out which photos to include. And as a digital artist, I found this really refreshing because I actually had to commit to a specific design. I couldn't just undo or duplicate and start all over whenever I wanted to. Number 4 is cleaning as you go. I consider myself a pretty tidy person, but I still end up with some doom piles or even skipping some cleaning days. What I used to do was pretty much front load all of my cleaning and reset into one single day at the start of the week. But what I found is that whenever the weekend rolled around, I was just exhausted or stressed out about the idea of having hours of work to do. A lot of cleaning, at least for me, typically comes from a lot of little piles anyway, and I realized I could probably afford to just do a little bit of cleaning as I go rather than letting it all build up at the end of the week. So this could look like putting away clothes once you're changing your outfit, putting them in the hamper, folding them away, putting dishes away right into the dishwasher when you're done eating, or replacing gear and equipment that you've used. If I get back from the gym and I was wearing my headphones, I come right back to my desk and put them there for the next day. Or if I was shooting on my camera, I come back and I put it on the tripod rather than just placing it on the first surface I see when I walk into my house. It's a bit of extra work, but I've definitely noticed a lot less stress, and if you do this long enough, it just becomes a habit and you're automatically cleaning up after yourself as you go. Number 5, photo walks. I've been rekindling my love for photography and videography these last couple months, and one of the best ways to practice is literally just to get out and shoot. There's only so much technical knowledge, vlogs, and presets you can look at before you really have to just commit to going out and using your gear. This year, it's my goal to go on at least 10 photo walks. It can look like going downtown, going on a road trip. The point is that I have to bring my camera and I have to take photos. I'm also not trying to put any specific pressure here. I don't really care how good the photos are. It's just the idea of getting in practice. I really appreciate the mindfulness that photography brings. It's a great creative challenge to use different gear and challenge your eye to look at things differently. And it's also just an excuse to get outside and get away from the desk. I've already got one under my belt where I was walking downtown and shooting with my new telephoto lens. This was the first time I was shooting on this lens, so the photos are not the best, but at least I was getting out and practicing. Number 6, removing social media from my phone. This is a difficult one, not because I don't have the restraint to stay off social media, but because as a content creator, these platforms make it really difficult to publish anywhere but from your phone. I've started by only having social apps on my iPad mini. I've started by only having these apps installed on my iPad mini, and it's working well for 2 reasons. The first is that these experiences on a tablet are really not great. They're really meant for mobile, so just naturally it's a little bit less enjoyable. And the second is that I don't always have my iPad mini with me, so naturally I'm just going to do less scrolling. If I do want to or rarely need to go on to these social platforms on my phone, I can just do that through the browser. And if you haven't done that on your phone, it's a horrible experience, so I rarely spend a lot of time on there anyway. Like I said, this is tough when you're trying to publish content. A lot of these apps are not built for iPads, and so I'm trying to figure that out, and hopefully I can make it last. But it's already saved me a lot of screen time and doom scrolling. Finally, we have nightly Turndown. My wife and I visited an all-inclusive last year, and we got to talking about what were the small things that made the experience feel so luxurious, and what could we recreate at home. Sure, you have the all-you-can-eat buffet and the ocean breeze, but one specific thing we found was the nightly turn-down service that the hotel offered. Basically, this is just them folding your sheets, opening up the balcony curtains, and putting a bottle of water on your nightstand. So when we got home, I started my own nightly turn-down service that looks like this. I close our blackout curtains, I'll fold the covers at the top, I'll fill up a 6-ounce glass of water for each of us, and this is great if you can keep a water jug in the bedroom throughout the week so you can easily refill. I'll spritz a little bit of lavender spray on our pillows, and then I'll turn on some white noise. It's absolutely extra and bougie, but it's a habit that I've been keeping up for almost 4 months now, and I found it's a great physical practice to kind of cue my body to start winding down for the day. So those are a few calm practices that I'm focused on for 2026. I'd love to know what you're doing to keep you focused on your goals for the new year. Let me know down below in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.